Are there key questions you ask almost every client?
Yes, there are. So I like to ask questions, but more than that, and my buddy Jared Granger, he uses this method where he has the client describe their brand as a person at a party. And so he asks them, what time did they show up? What are they wearing? Where are they standing? Who are they talking to? And so doing something like that, it doesn't have to be exactly that.
Yeah.
But just having them explain things in a creative way that's different than like their elevator pitch, describing the brand, because while they may not have heard that question before or thought about like, what is my brand wearing at a party, or what time did they show up? Like, they immediately, like, a light bulb comes on and they're like, oh, I kind of have an understanding of like what it needs to feel like. And it almost enables them to explain it and answer a lot of questions that I would ask. I don't like asking questions like, what color palettes are you into? What kind of design don't you like? Because those things don't matter.
So you're going to ask questions that lead towards expressing the vision of what it means to participate as a customer with their brand.
Right. It's funny, as we're talking through this, it's hard to explain. It's something I do regularly.
Yeah.
But I've never had to like explain it to someone. But yeah, so they're leading questions that I want to get more out of them than yes or no, or I like green, or whatever it is.
Totally. I mean, to me, it's the amateur questions that I ask.
There's no value in it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And again, it's more of opinion,
right?
Because they don't know what color they don't know about color science. They don't know about what colors invoke what emotion, right? If they say, oh, well, my company is the attractive redhead who shows up late because she wants to make an impression, and she's wearing the flashy red dress, and it's like, okay, so this company wants to invoke excitement and mystery and like a sense of uncertainty, right? Like that creates more of an understanding for you than, oh, I like red.
Yeah.
Or I like purple.
Yeah, because as they're explaining, one of the things I love to get from clients is adjectives and adverbs. And I have in the past asked for like a list, and sometimes I will still send them, a bit of a brief that says like, describe your company with 6 adjectives or whatever it is, or like write 12 and then whittle it down to 4, like your top 4 that you really feel like describe your company. But in the process of doing something where they describe like a person at a party or a car or something like that, like they're already giving me those adjectives, right? But they're doing it in a way where it doesn't feel like a question and answer.
It's more conversational.
It's conversational.
That makes sense.
What that does is it's not a form, and it's not just I'm asking you questions because I ask everybody. I'm getting to know them too, because their personality is going to come out in the way they answer. And usually that is like if they find it humorous, or if they're like, let's just get this over with, and I can get to know them that way. And then what happens is the rest of my communication is more efficient because I can kind of get an understanding of who they are as well. If I have a client that, let's say it's the person at a party, which I don't usually use that. But if it's something like that and I get into that and they're not enjoying it, I can switch to a more like analytical mode. Like, let's just fill this out. Let's figure it out.
I was going to ask that question.
Very simple. Right.
Okay.
But if it's a person that's like gung ho, like this is a party, like every phone call is amazing. Like what am I trying to say? I kind of bend my process to be more like engaging and communicative and personal with them, rather than like, this person is very straightforward. And usually, and you understand this, if it's a startup or a company that a CEO needs to be in charge and they're communicating, they're usually on that analytical side of things, where they just want it straightforward. They don't really want to have a phone call. But if it's like a really young startup and it's a founder that's younger, like I was telling you before, and they're like, they love what they do, they're passionate, like they're going to enjoy that process. And so like the process is the same, but how I communicate the process and how we go about it is different, just based on how I kind of gauge their personality.